Om Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavat Patam Shankaram Loka Shankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Vatarayanam Sutrabhashya Kritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Sada Shiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam अस्मदाचार्य पर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम् ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः उकारो अन्धकारो वैरुकारस्तन्निवर्तकः अन्धकारनिरोधित्वात् गुरुरित्यभिधीयते ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः ॐ भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयाम देवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैः सुष्ठुवांसस्तनूभिः व्यशेम देवहितं यतायुः स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृत्तश्रवाः स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. So, we are studying Māṇḍūkya Upaniṣad. In the Māṇḍūkya Upaniṣad, in our tradition, we study along with the kārikā. Kārikā means an independent text written by Gaudapada Acharya based on the Māṇḍūkya Upaniṣad. Without giving up the meaning and the content of the Upanishad or the text, his own vision regarding this Upanishad. Māṇḍūkya Upaniṣad talks about the three states of the human or of a living being. Each and every living being goes through these three states. Analyzing these three states, we recognize the reality of the creation, the reality of an entity, the reality of the human being. Even though I say human being, each and every living being is based upon this reality only. But only human being can study and realize this entity, what we call Brahman or each and every Upanishad, even though they are differ in their name, in their way of analysis, but they have one goal. The identity of the individual is nothing but Brahman. Jiva Ishvara Ekatva Jnana. The unity, they are nothing but one. What we call the creator, the Brahman, and the created as a human being, from the intrinsic nature, from the reality, we are one. This is the topic of each and every Upanishad. In Māṇḍūkya Upaniṣad, the prakriya, the systematic way of analyzing the three states and arriving at the conclusion that all these three states are based upon one single entity, and this is called Atman, the self of an individual. We already passed the 7 verses of Māṇḍūkya Upaniṣad, and we are in the 10th verse of kārikā. I already mentioned you in the last class, kārikas are 4 sections, and we are in the first section called Agama section. And wherever the verses are connected with the Māṇḍūkya Upaniṣad verse, then the kārikā will be presented in our tradition. So we are in the 10th verse of the kārikā, and we will see what we have gone through and what we have to see today. So the 10th kārikā is like this. Nivritthe sarva dukkhanam ishana prabhuravyaya. Advaita sarva bhavanam devasturyo vipusprataha. Nivritthe sarva dukkhanam ishana prabhuravyaya. This is the first line which we already saw. If a human being got a chance to study tradition and to study our traditional scriptures, which is beyond all the caste, religion, and everything, only based upon the human deeds which are right and proper, a person will achieve the quality to understand the reality. The person gets qualified by performing the universal values without compromising in the life. Like showing the compassion towards each and every living being, speaking truth in one's life. These are all the values. Those values will make the person to qualify, will give the qualification to listen the right thing, the proper thing about an individual. So we call it adhikaritvam, the qualification to listen the ultimate truth about one. So when one gets qualified, person will listen any one of the Upanishad. And if a person is ready to receive the knowledge properly, that moment itself he get liberated or she get liberated. If the readiness is lacking, the knowledge will wait for the readiness of the person. By performing lot of austerities, meditations, prayers, getting the guidance of the traditional teacher, a person live a proper life. Thus, he or she get qualified. Then the knowledge will take place that you are the self. Giving up all the incidental limitations, like I am a human being, I am a man, I am a woman, I am black, I am fair, I have long hair, I don't have hair, my eyes are small, my everything, all these limitations, immediately one will give up that courage will come once the knowledge take place in one's mind. Here, this verse talks about if a person come to know the knowledge about oneself, or if the knowledge take place in one's mind, that moment itself, nivritte sarva dukkhana, that knowledge will ward off that three states: waking state, dream state, and a deep sleep state. Because these three states are making me more and more insecure, giving me more and more worries, pain, confusions, lacking confidence. All these things will happen when I believe these states are true. So, if a person comes to know, if this knowledge take place in one's mind, sarva dukkhana nivrittihi, all the worries and pain will have an end. That will be the culmination of the three states and the effects of these three states. When we believe these three states are true, we will always have worries. We will always have issues. We will always have bondages. We will become more and more isolated in this world. The comparison itself will bring lots of worries. Every grief will put down the individual more and more down. So, nivritte sarva dukkhanam, a person will take away all the sadness by knowing the reality of an individual. Sarva dukkhana nivrittihi. This is what the first priority of each and every living being, whether you have knowledge or not. I don't want to get any worries in my life. I don't want to get diseases. I don't want to become more and more illegitimate. I don't want to be a person who is always asking help from others. Nobody likes a life like that. So the first priority of a person is get rid of from the worries. And that's been told here, nivritti sarva dukkhanam, this knowledge about oneself. We are not talking about magic like the leaders of some religion used to perform some dramas in the stages that they take away all the worries of an individual. They remove the disease of the individual. It's not just a drama. It's not just a fake idea, fake dramas to collect the people to their religion. We are not talking about that, because a truth when get revealed, a person will be freed from all kinds of worries. And it's logical, and it's been proven by thousands of people who are behind us, who are in the form of sages, who are in the form of tapasvis, who are in the form of sadhus. All these words means a person who is performing spiritual life. They are free from all kinds of worries and pain. Even though their body is subject to grief, they are free really, because their intrinsic nature is Brahman, what we call Turiya. So after getting the knowledge, one will be freed from all kinds of worries and insecurities. And this knowledge talks about something unique about one individual. What is that uniqueness? Ishanaha, the protector, the controller of the creation. The very individual is not a human body, but where the human body is centered, that locus being the protector and the creator in the form of consciousness. Prabhu, the overlordship, being the creator who is almighty, who is all intelligent. Prabhu, Avyayaha, changeless, eternal, no modifications like what we are going through with our body. We were babies, then we became kid, then we became girl or a boy, then we became a teenager, then we got matured, and at last we are old. That changes never happens in one's reality, in the consciousness. Whatever changes occurring in one's own body is untouched to this very nature of an individual. That consciousness being the substratum of the body, all the changes occurring in our body is being understood because the unchanging entity being there in the form of consciousness, it will mark all the changes. Because it is conscious, because it is eternal, it can mark all the changes occurring in the body, and it will be the one and the same all the time. In the past, in the present, and in the future, it will be one and the same. There is no death and birth for an individual. Is the reality that information itself will take away somebody's insecurity regarding the death. Death is the most annoying worry among all worries. I don't want to give up this world. I want to exist in this world. That is being told by this Avyayaha. A person will not get modified. It will be always stable. It will be always eternal in this world. From the standpoint of the body, this knowledge will be absurd, will be contradictory, because body is something which got a date of birth. When we have a date of birth for the body, there will be a date of death, because every moment this is dying. Any change means the previous state is given up and a new state is born. That itself is death. So from the standpoint of the I am this body, this knowledge will be contradictory. But from the standpoint of ultimate reality, what is the substratum of the body, this knowledge is the only truth. Avyaya. Advaita sarvabhavana. Advaitam, non-duality. It is non-separate. From the standpoint of reality, like water is the substratum of steam, water is the substratum of clouds, water is the substratum of waves, water is the substratum of ocean, water is the substratum of dewdrop, but they are different names and forms. Similarly, In the creation, plants are there, animals are there, birds are there, and insentient things like vessels, clothes. Lot of things are there, insentient, iron, earth, 5 elements. All these things are also there in the creation, but they are mere names and forms. All these names and forms are centered on one single thing that is being pointed out by Advaitam. Even though you perceive difference from one to one, that difference is only due to illusion, due to misunderstanding, due to a mistake of not knowing the reality. Advaitam is the real nature of an individual, non-duality. Advaita sarva bhavanam. You can take this bhava into 3 states or the eternal entire creation. Sarva bhavanam advaita praptihi is moksha. Even though you see different things in the world, even though you perceive different states in your body, you are not changing at any point of time. This is called Advaitam. You are one and the same in each and every name and form. This is called Advaitam. Devasthuryo vipusmrataha. Devaha, the effulgent one. Self-effulgence. A light will depend upon the electricity to illumine. A fan will depend upon the electricity to rotate. A heater will depend upon the electricity to bring heat. They are depending on somebody for their performance. This is called dependency. When the real power is there in the electricity, that power is given to them, that power is transformed to them to do their performances. But they are insentient in nature. Still, they seems to be sentient in this world when the electricity is there and it is formless. Because electricity is not available for our eyes. It is not seen by our eye. It's not easy to, we can only feel the electricity if you touch or something like, understand. So the entire creation is insentient. It performs its own action. A plant will give some fruits. An animal will raise some babies. A human being will inhale and exhale. All these things are happening due to somebody's presence, the consciousness which is self-effulgent. The body being sentient due to the presence of this self-effulgent entity. That is what been told by Devaha, which is self-effulgent. Our body borrows the power to speak, the power to think, the power to see, the power to listen, the power to digest from somebody else. That entity is called Prabhu, who never borrows anything from anybody. It is self-effulgent. So, Prabhu is a very important name. That which is self-effulgent and by which everything is active. All this insentient world is active due to whom's presence. That entity is called Prabhu. And the Prabhu Deva, not Prabhu, Deva. Jyotanavan Deva. Deva. And this Deva, the self-effulgent one, is Turyaha. Turyaha means the fourth. From the standpoint of explanation, after explaining the waking state, we came to explain the dream state. Then we came to explain the deep sleep state. In terms of explaining the entity which is the center of entire creation and also the human body, that entity is the fourth in explanation when we consider the explanation. So it got the name Turiyaha, the fourth, because in the common way, if we say fourth, we will consider as the fourth state, because the three states will make understand us that it is also the fourth state. For avoiding of this confusion, I want to make you clear that in terms of explanation, we consider this is the fourth. Chaturiyaha, Turyaha, this entity who is the base for all these three states is free from all worries. That knowledge will make the individual to be free from all kinds of worries and bondages. If you ask me, even I listened to you, I didn't free from all my worries and pain. Remember, as long as the body continues, the mind will work and the mind will think about the dualities, the dualistic world, and we have some attachment, we have some bondages like I have my children, I have my house, I have my car. All these things are subject to give some grief in one's life. As long as the body continues, body and the mind will have certain worries and pain. Only thing we have to know that I am not this body and mind. I am the substractor. I am the base of body and mind. So that knowledge that I am free from death and birth, I am free from pain, that knowledge is the ultimate knowledge for a human being. In fact, the human birth is meant for knowing this ultimate knowledge. All other things are secondary. To get married, to live a happy life, to go to a country and work and earn money. These are all secondary for a spiritual person, not for the entire humanity. I am talking about the people who are attending the class. For them, the priority is to be free from this world, which is full of miseries, which is full of cheating, which is full of misunderstanding, which is full of taking the advantages of the situations. Why should you live here, taking again and again different births? For them, for their enlightenment, a traditional teacher has to say the truth that our priority is to get the knowledge and live according to this knowledge. I am free from all bondages. From the standpoint of self, I don't have children, wife, house, car, etc., etc. From the standpoint of I am having a human body, which is a mistaken identity, I have a wife, I have children, I have a home, etc., etc. Nothing wrong. So, Turiyaha, the fourth one, who is the base, who will take away all kinds of worries and give the freedom from the death cycle. Turiyaha, Vibhuhu Smrataha. Vibhu, one who is all pervading in the three states as well as in this entire creation, who is all pervading, is to be remembered. Because we lived a life in very much individual. I am separate from my father. I am separate from my mother. I am separate from my sister. This thinking itself made me that I am a different personality from this entire creation. Like me, lot of people are there in this creation. So, in order to eradicate this misunderstanding, we should think that, we should know that the reality is I am an all-pervading entity. An all-pervading entity is not subject to any kind of limitation, but one should know that I am an all-pervading entity and I am owning a body right now, or I am having a body right now. This is how the understanding should take place. Nothing wrong to have a body. This body is a reward if you accomplish this knowledge. Through this body only you are freed from the death and birth cycle. So, thus, a person should understand from the standpoint of reality, I am all pervading. But from the standpoint of an individual, I am having a body, but I am not this body. I am this all-pervading entity, and I am free to have a body. That's smritaha. Like this, all our traditional teachers have revealed this entity to be remembered, smritaha, to be understood. This is the 10th verse, and we are going to see the 11th verse. More and more you listen the meaning of the verses which we are studying in the class. It will help the person to get the stability with the knowledge. So, we are uploading each and every class in our YouTube. Anybody can go and listen more and more, because Upanishad studying is not mere listening. Mere listening is called in Sanskrit Shravanam. After listening the knowledge about oneself, the reality about oneself, one should go through again and again and again through this reality. No other way. This is the only way to take away all the impurities which are accumulated in the mind, in the form of bondages, in the form of different wishes and desires. All this should go away by accommodating the reality in one's mind, by listening again and again. This is called mananam. Once you listen something again and again and again, you will become that. This is proven in the empirical world and also in the spiritual world. If you are walking always with the king, your character and your behavior will be like a king. If you are walking with a donkey entire life, you only know how to deal the donkey, and you only deal with the people how you deal with the donkey. If you walk with a noble person, your heart will become more noble. If you walk with a criminal, you live with an entire life with a criminal. you always will be thinking about how to deal the world with a knife and a gun. So it's very important that go with the better things in one's life. Find out some people who will give up their entire life to make you to be freed from this death and birth cycle. The body have a limited time in this world. You cannot postpone something like, I will listen this class afterwards, or I will attend the class afterwards. Due to my limitation, due to my prarabdha, I am not having the time to listen, but I will do in future. That is something one should think, because life is dynamic. It never throws same situations every day. In one moment, everything will get collapsed. In one moment, everything get mounted. You may change to some other place. Your ideas will get changed. So let receiving this knowledge become the priority by the blessings of Ganesha, the elephant-faced Lord. May he remove all the obstacles in our path to accomplish our liberation, which is already existing. So one should think always, this should be our priority. All our needs and all our desires in our life should be secondary. I am not against fulfilling the desires. One should have a cup of tea with your person who love. One should go for an outing. One should have a hideout when you are under some pressure in the household life. I'm not against anything. These are all needed for the body to recover from the patches, But once you realize this is the only thing I have to do in my life, after getting the balance in one's life, one should go again and again to this knowledge. So I will read the 11th verse and I will go to the meaning of the 11th verse. Kārikā ishyede vishvatejasau prajyah kāranabaddhastu tautau turyo na siddhyataha. Once more I will read. Kārikā ishyede vishvatejasau prajyah kāranabaddhastu tautau turyena vidyate. Karyam, Karan. Very important words in the Vedanta philosophy, Advaita philosophy, in the non-dual philosophy. Karyam, Karan. Karyam means effect or product. Here it will be the sense of specific. Mainly, the common meaning of karyam is product or effect. The cotton will become the cause, which will be the karanam. The cloth will be the effect of the cotton. Even you can convert the cotton into thread. Thread is the cause and the cloth will be the karyam. The mud will be the cause and the pot will be the effect. So karyam and karan. In fact, there is no cause and effect result between the creator and the created, which we'll be discussing in the coming verses. There is no connection at all. There is no karya karana bandha. That is the main bondage which we carry through our entire life. My mother, My father, my brother, my grandfather, I cannot avoid them. In fact, I am free from cause and effect relationship in this world. Up to this, it's only a misunderstanding that my bondage with the mother and the father. The reality seems to be bitter, but I have to say, because the listeners are more wise than me, so they can grasp the entire idea when I say. See, from the standpoint of reality, the Atman, the self, never get a birth or never get a death. Due to my vasanas, the past impressions, I choose to get a birth in this world and I choose a womb. If our mother or father get a choice to choose somebody, they will choose better than me or you. I chose to get a birth in their womb. There is no cause and effect connection with a father and a son, or with a father and a daughter, with a mother and son, or with a mother and a daughter. I chose myself according to my karmas, according to my actions which I have done. Because this is very deep in everybody's mind. My son, it's not your son. He chose to come through your body, becoming the semen and entered into the womb, and he got a human body. We didn't choose to somebody to get birth in our life. It's all their choose. I chose myself to get in the birth in the womb. The point is, there is no cause and effect relationship with anybody in this world. That will also take away for a ride to get another birth and coming here for a lot of worries. As an ignorant, I may ignore my parents when I get a job and I settle in US or UK. We are not talking about that type of ignoring. We are talking about a mature understanding that there is no cause and effect. That maturity should stop all the tears towards the world. Everybody will go through their own destiny, which we don't have any role. We will talk about this cause and effect relationship in the coming verse. I will go through the meaning of this current verse. Kārikā baddhau. There is always cause and effect relationship for both states, or general and specific effects or characteristics for both states. For which states? For the waking state and for the dream state. There is always generic and specific characteristics. The Maya, the illusion, the power of illusion, will work in two different ways in everybody. The illusion itself is the power of this eternal reality. Maya. In Sanskrit, it is called Maya, the power, the illusion. When we don't identify the thing as it is, this is called non-apprehension. I don't see a thing as it is. For example, when you are driving and you have a straight road in front of you and you see after 3 kilometers something is standing in front of you and your car is almost in 200 kilometers per hour. You identify, oh, it's a cow or it's a horse or it's a donkey. Something is there. This is the power of Maya, first power, You don't identify the thing properly due to some factors. Limitation of the eyesight, limitation of the light, limitation of the space, limitation of the distance. I may not identify a thing as it is. And this is called non-apprehension. We don't identify a thing as it is. It happens anywhere. The stock example, Shankara's example. We don't identify a rope as it is in a dark room. Due to the limitation that there is darkness in the room and I don't have the vision to see in the dark. Like Kuruja, the owl, the lion, the cats, they have extraordinary vision to see something in the dark. And they work like Lord has given shift in the night, nocturnal. When we are sleeping, they are awake to deal the dark. Thank God, He has given different characteristics according to the species and animals, which is a big story. I will explain once. The adversity of the creation. We don't have the eyesight to see something in the dark. But I sense by stepping on the rock, oh, there is a snake inside the room. Because nobody informed me there is a rope inside this room. I have already preoccupied ideas about a snake. It is fluffy, it is lengthy, it is having certain other characteristics, slip away from my legs. All these characteristics I keep in my mind. When I keep all these characteristics in my mind, it will be very easy for the mind to misidentify something other than what it is. Instead of identifying it's a rope because non-apprehension happened, my preoccupied ideas made me to think it is a snake. So the power of illusion, first interrupt the real vision. Avaranam, hiding the reality of a thing. We call it non-apprehension. Avaranam. The real nature is covered. And the second characteristic of the illusion is, of Maya, is misapprehension. You identify something other than what it is. This is called vikshepam, projection. Vikshepam can be anything according to one's own individual ideas. Suppose if we have already the idea of the snake, you may identify the rope as a snake. Suppose if you have an idea of a stick inside the room, inside the mind, you will identify as a stick instead of a rope. So preoccupied ideas may vary, different individual. That's why even we assume about an individual by looking at the face. This person may be easy to deal. This person will be uneasy to deal. This person seems to be very serious. This person seems to be very funny. We just confirm by our first perception towards somebody. But it may be wrong afterwards, you know. Somebody who is looking very serious may be very funny. Somebody looking very funny may be very serious. Somebody who seems to be very uneasy, in nature, they will be very easy to deal. All these things happened in our life. So I don't need to explain more regarding the avaranam and the vikshepam. Covering something is a characteristic of the Maya, the illusion. And we will be unable to see its real nature. And our preoccupied ideas make us to identify the thing other than what it is. The entire Vedanta philosophy is centered on one single logic, this avaranam and vikshepam. The hidden nature of the reality, and on the reality we project something other than what it is. Thus, the whole world is mistaken the reality, and they take themselves all the preoccupied ideas. According to that, they live in this world. Thus, we are being fooled by the illusion, Maya. So, cause and effect. Now come to the understanding of cause and effect. In this world, when I get a birth, nobody inform me, you are Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam, Brahman. Nobody is going to inform me. Nobody informed me that you are the eternal, conscious, and the source of happiness, what we call Brahman. You need not to go here and there for the joy. You are the source of joy. The whole enjoyment originates from you. In spite of the things available for you or unavailable for you, you are the eternal happiness. Nobody told me. But everybody informed me. You are a human being in this world. mistaken identity being their conclusion, they distributed to me. My father and mother didn't study the philosophy of Vedanta. They didn't inform me that you are the source of entire creation. You are not subject to death or birth. You are the Brahman. But instead of talking about the reality, they just distributed some ideas, what they see in their life, what they were already existing in their mind. You are a human being. You are a boy. You are a girl. You are tall. You are short. Your hair is curly. Your face is charming. Your face is not looking good. You are fair. You are black. In the society, you have responsibilities. In the society, you have to do certain things. In the home, you have responsibilities. As a human being, you have responsibilities towards the entire world. All these fake ideas are existing in their mind. They are also given to our mind. Thus, waking state have both misapprehension, that means mistaken identity about oneself, due to what? Non-apprehension of oneself. So, non-apprehension will be the reason, non-apprehension will be the karanam, non-apprehension is the cause for the misapprehension, which is the effect that I am this body, I am a woman, I am beautiful, I have to do like this, I have to suppress my desires, I have to express my desires, I have to go through all kinds of worries, I have to sublet certain things in this daily life, I cannot enjoy this world. All these ideas made me more and more confused due to one thing, misapprehension about oneself. I took myself, instead of taking I am the eternal Brahman, instead of that, I took myself, I am a human being who came here in this world for suffering and getting some enjoyment through my senses. This misidentification made me more and more issues in my life. So in the dream state and in the waking state, we have non-apprehension of the reality. Due to the non-apprehension of the reality, which is the cause, we have misapprehension of the reality, which will be, I am the human being. That is the effect, which we go through different worries and sorrows because of this misapprehension. More we have to see about this verse in the next class. We will wind up now. Om Susti Prajabhya Paripalayandam Nyayena Margena Mahim Mahishaha Brahmanibhya Shubhamastu Nityam Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu Kali Varshadu Parjanyaha Siddhi Sasya Sharini Deshoyam Kshovarahitaha Brahmana Santu Nirbayaha Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah Sarve Santu Niramayaha Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschid Dukkhabhag Bhavet Asato Ma Sadgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Mritam Gamaya Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamataya Purnameva Vashishyate Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om Namaste Rachita Neera